weekend, I guarantee it.
This may be the calmest water we see all weekend. Welcome to Buffalo, New York, the Buffalo Offshore Challenge. It's going to be exciting. Fasten your seatbelts. Here's what you'll see coming up. Today on APBA Offshore, SpeedMonster.com presents a unique blend of the most incredible offshore racing on the planet. In the Baja, Outlaws watch these renegades get big air in some of the best racing of the season.
In the Warlock Factory 1 class, Lance Henriksen and Jim Arvis run this little Warlock ragged in the big water of Lake Erie. They're locked in a grudge war with the fountain. The waves will smack both boats around today, and the points leaders are battling with a sea of words.
We are looking forward to taking this Warlock out front and just kicking some butt.
Well, they better be careful, because whether they're out front or back in the pack, they are going to get this kind of wave action. Waves breaking right over the wall here off of Lake Erie in Buffalo, New York. The trees are bending, the waves are rising, and you can see that boat is really taking a beating. Well, let's go racing, and let's see what happens.
In spite of this bad weather in Buffalo, the Warlock Factory 2 class will somehow get their race in. The big boats were hoping for big water in Buffalo, but they'll be the first to get a warm welcome. The water was so rough in Lake Erie that the race site had to be moved to sunny Isla Mirada, Florida.
And the Supercats will kiss summer goodbye. Is Don Q, the eternal bridesmaid this season, about to alter the standings in rally after running over a telephone pole in the water in Baltimore? You see, telephone poles in boats, they just don't mix. Take a look at what happened to Don Q in the water. When the pole hit, it damaged the skeg, which sticks down in the lower part of the engine in the water. That's damage, and that cost him first place. We'll begin in Buffalo when we come back. The F1s are on the water, and it is a sight. The racing begins come swell or high water. APBA is sponsored by SpeedMonster.com, the presenting sponsor of the APBA Offshore Pro Series 2000. Welcome back. As you look down on Buffalo Harbor on Lake Erie, weather could be a factor today. More than likely it will be. Weather can be unpredictable. We are expecting big water, and that means safety has to be a paramount concern. We see more in What's That All About?
Well, safety is the primary concern for the APBA at any race site. Safety for the racers, crews, and the fans. In Buffalo, the APBA held a press conference to emphasize the importance of safety and to highlight the cooperation between APBA race staff and the U.S. Coast Guard. Now, race officials, safety coordinators, and the APBA's top brass gathered to showcase this most important aspect of offshore racing, and to show that without the help of the U.S. Coast Guard, offshore racing would be but a dream.
Within the Buffalo area that are supplying rescue divers.
Right now we have 40 confirmed, and that is just vessels enforcing the zone. This is a pretty difficult zone to enforce for us, but we do have enough assets to properly secure it. And I believe there are another 40 interior vessels which are going to handle the EMS and the dive and the towboat operations.
Now, the Coast Guard isn't the only line of defense. Each racer must file his boat through a detailed inspection. During these inspections, officials check to make sure the boats are in compliance with APBA rules. In addition, each boat must pass rigorous safety checks before it's cleared to enter the race course. Offshore racing is about fun and excitement, but safety is the name of the game.
Now, this is the first Lake race this year. It's a most unusual race course. Half of it is smooth on the inside of the breakwater, and half is big and rough on the outside. The waves can whip up quickly here on the Great Lakes, and the racers will have to be ready for anything when they head beyond the safety of the inner harbor.
Well, conditions are going to be very tricky today. Setup of the boat is key because you're going to have extreme rough water on the outside leg with all the wind, 15 to 20 knots, and then flat water on the inside. So propeller selection will be key. It's anybody's race.
The outside's going to be a little bumpy for sure. The inside the wall is going to be a little bit calm. It's going to be a good race because, you know, some boats run better in rougher water.
We're going to have probably 6 or 7 boats in line, or not in line, but breast to breast, running up into that first and second turn. So combination of the turn itself and then hitting the seas head on, it's going to be a real show.
But we're going to separate the men from the boys today in the Factory 1 class, or maybe it's the smart from the not so smart. The bottom line is we have a large class in the Factory 1. The boat to watch is the speed burner out there, the F-160 with a tunnel boat racer, Benny Robertson. Can he handle this big water?
Well, you're looking at Charlie Smith and Michael Myers aboard Full Tilt Racing, and you can see they are ready to go out there and challenge those waves. Next, this is the Ale House, the F-113, Chip Johnson and Bob Christie. Points leaders and possibly the most talented in F1 right now. You're looking at him. Driver Jim Arvis has adopted a new nickname, Fountain Killer. He's had success.
We don't expect to see any fountains this weekend until we lap them, probably on the second or third lap. So I hope they do their homework and do a little bit of T crossing and I dotting and all that kind of good stuff, because we're gonna kick some butt.
All right, let's see what they can do as they come down for the start in Factory 1. Let's watch them go. They're even, and there's the green flag.
It's yellow, isn't it? What? It's yellow. Green. Just now.
And there's the start. It's ideal conditions. Very calm, but we're inside the breakwater. Lance and Jim with a blast to jump, and they sit in third behind F-123. And in the lead, it's Benny Robertson in the F-160. That is the speed burner. The test is yet to come. We're going to go outside the breakwater into the rough seas, and then we're going to separate the better rough water guys from the also-rans.
Well, the F-160 Wallace Fountain looks very strong out there. Benny Robertson and Mitch Miller having a good ride, but now look at the change of the water and look at what's happening with these boats.
Now you can see now the guys who are more at home in the rough seas are beginning to take the lead. Look at the throttling required. Yeah, you got to keep these boats on the water. It's ricocheting out there, and just look at what's happening. Benny Robertson is being overtaken by 2 other boats. He's being blown away.
You got it. You're clear. Go it, man. Go away.
Look at this course. You see the boats in the distance and closer to the camera churning this water. They're just trying to hold on for dear life at this point.
Now, the F-160 is slowing down. Benny Robertson, who's thought to be a magician on the tunnel boat course, has just performed his best trick. He made a full-size fountain evaporate in one straightaway.
This is amazing. Look at those boats jump out of the water, just literally riding on their tail, and they're trying to hold that tail in the water, and there you can see many times coming right out. You see the entire lower part of the engine exposed. Jim and Lance are now alone out front in that Warlock. They are having a great race.
I got a nose on these guys. I'm going to chop them off.
Oh, meanwhile, a lot of boats we don't normally see up front are there. 14 dueling with Bob Christie for third.
What you have is controlled ricochet. You're going to bounce off these waves. You're literally going to ricochet. The key is keeping your prop in the water. The great throttleman can keep the back end of the boat down and the boat basically level. You want the bow pointed in the direction you're trying to go. The less time you spend at an odd angle to the race course, the faster you're going to go and the more progress you're going to make.
And talking about progress, how about 54, Team Progression battling 14 now for third place. 91 heads around turn number 1 in the lead, just behind in second. A problem for the Ale House.
Ale House just spun out. He's okay. Looks like he's re-entering course.
Whew, everything appears to be okay, but the F-113 lost some valuable time. They're now in 6th place.
Now, these conditions are very tricky, and you have to watch the step bottom V-bottoms. because in the turns, they don't lock up like a straight bottom V-bottom. Those back steps, they aerate the boats, they make them a little bit faster, but they don't hold as well in the turns. In this kind of chop and this kind of wind, that could be critical, and that's what happened to Alehouse.
And what you're looking at right here is now, because of what happened to Alehouse, a battle for second place. Boy, oh boy, they are really riding those boats high, looking for that calm water as they come back in. Now, here's a strange sight. The F-160 is running in ninth.
Probably the fastest boat in the race, but he can't make any headway in the big seas. You can see the big air these boats are getting. Now, these swells are flattened out on your TV set. Those waves are actually quite a bit bigger than they look to you right now. You're looking at occasional 6- and 7-foot waves out there. Don't be misled by the fact that the camera is flattening out the race course.
The battle for fourth place, F-123, deck-to-deck with Granville's F-102. They are really pouring it out in smoother water.
Oh, and it is getting rougher. The wind continues to build. Lake Erie is churning up like a hurricane nightmare. It is huge water out there. And F-123, they're loving it. They seem to be at home in this stuff, and you can see they're making a big move right now in the rough, but coming into the calm. F-191 holding a lot of speed, hanging on that turn. They're staying right on course. They're still managing to have race course management, even in these obscenely rough seas.
F-114 running a strong second place, 23 and 02 just behind. Let's go on board with Richard and Bob.
Oh, my God.
Something has happened just in front of them. The F-123 has spun. Richard and Bob very concerned. They're signaling other boats. The helicopter's on its way. Other boats are stopping.
Down in the boat, hurt. I've ejected one diver.
Now the diver heads to help Craig Edwards, who's in the boat. It looks like the pace boat has Ken Collier, who was thrown out. Now with the yellow in turns 1 and 2 and the F-191 hanging on to the lead, we'll take a timeout, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. New York on Lake Erie. Word is no serious injuries for the crew of the F-123. The F-191 leads. The second place boat is F-114 trying to hold off the F-154 in third.
Now the F-154 team progression. That's a boat built on Long Island. It's one of the best boats in the series, but they don't run the entire series and are therefore not a factor in the national points race.
Also the best run for this boat, the F-135 Team Baja, still deck-to-deck with the Rusty Wallace Fountain boat.
Now, in that boat is Gene Weeks, one of the best throttlemen in the entire sport. You can see he's just running by that fountain.
And the F-191 wins yet again. But for the first time we can remember, Lance Armstrong is not screaming while the checkers are in his hand. Notice, F-114 was running second for most of the race. On the last lap, they had engine problems. Team progression benefits, as does Team Formula and the F-135 Team Baja. The second Warlock finishes in 6th. Here's our winners.
Again. Woo! Was that fun or what? That was some fun water. We love that.
You tamed the course.
Wow, it was everything you ever wanted in an offshore race. It was flat on the inside, snotty on the outside, rough on all the turns, and tons of competition. Everybody was smoking today. Well, we stayed with our plan. We ran hard, ran strong, and this guy is a driver. Woo! He can drive. I want to thank Warlock Powerboats for all the assistance they've done for us. Without them, we wouldn't even be here.
And here's more good news as we look at the team points for the season. Lance and Jim and the F-191 are dominating in that points race.
And it looks like the wind is picking up here on Lake Erie. We hope this weather will hold out for the rest of the day, and we'll keep an eye on it. For now, let's take a look at one of the most reliable and important pieces of equipment at any boat race. Here's how it works.
The way we get all the race boats in and out of the water is through a process of craning.
Crane in and out probably 4, 5, 6 times over the weekend.
The boat has either 3 or 4 lifting straps attached to it, strategically placed around the boat. The crane then lifts the boat off the trailer and into the water.
The key to lifting a boat out of the water is to do your homework before you get to the cranes. In other words, we lay it all out using calculus, and we figure out exactly how these straps are going to lift the boat up as perfectly as possible.
The scary part's the strap. It's very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking? For an owner, absolutely.
It's very nerve-wracking. When you see your investment hanging, 30, 40, 50 feet in front of the water, you're always keeping your fingers crossed that it's going to make it, and it does take a little patience.
Offshore racers love rough water, but every year the Great Lakes come up with huge storms in the fall, leading to tragedies like the Edmund Fitzgerald. We've got conditions like that building right now. This is the inner harbor. It's almost too rough to race in. Can you imagine what it's like beyond the seawall?
Wavy Buffalo, New. You're looking at the entrance to Lake Erie, and I'm telling you, Rich, this, as a matter of fact, I have to say the weather has intensified. But let's take a look at earlier action from the Baja Outlaw class.
The APBA's outlaw classes are for the unique and the slightly different, the new ideas in offshore racing. It gives the manufacturers and developers a chance to try out new techniques, new ideas, and develop new engineered approaches to offshore competition. Typical of the idea is the yellow boat in front of your screen. That is an Armada bat boat, very unique wing craft.
Now, in the Outlaw A class, the battle right off was between the white boat, the A-15 Irresistible, and a yellow 29-footer manufactured by Extreme. That one was the Team Energy boat. They battled it back and forth, but in the end, the A-55 Team Energy would come on with the power, and they just gutted it out in the waves. They were able to take the checkers. This water did not get any easier for these smaller boats, and they sat high on their back end. But there you see the final results. Scott Lucero, the driver, Chris McElwee, the throttleman, and Team Energy takes the win.
In the Outlaw C class, we saw some of the best racing of the day here as the Mountain Dew C4, driven by a familiar face, that's Jim Arvis from the Factory 1 boat. He led, but when they came back around, it was C68 who would put a lot of distance between him and the C4. Performance Marine goes on to the win by more than a minute after mechanical problems dropped C4 out of the race and dropped him to third place.
It was a battle, and again, it is not only a battle against the other boats, it's a battle against the elements. And there you see the final results in Outlaw C. Now, in Outlaw E class, another close duel. This time in the E class, E76 Fountain has the lead over Warlock. You can see again, this is in the smoother water on the interior of the course. Warlock rides very, very well in it, but they start to loosen up a little bit, as all the boats do, when they get in the rough water. Eventually, the Warlock broke, and E76, driven by Reggie Fountain, a third, cruise to another big win. What about the weather? Let's go to Rich Lures for the update.
For even the bravest offshore racers, there's a time when courage takes a back seat to common sense. No one, and I mean no one, is going to race in these seas.
Wait a minute, to the Keys? Yeah, it's still the Buffalo Offshore Challenge. However, we've moved to a slightly Isla Mirada, Florida. The Keys will host the F2 and Super Cat racers. The folks here have worked hard to make it happen.
I've been fortunate enough to see many of the races over about the last 15 years, but I don't recall seeing a group of boats like this. This is powerful.
Well, usually with the divisional race, we have about 30, 35 boats, and that's what we were expecting. We were hoping for a little bit bigger crowd this year, and then we got word that national event and bigger boats coming. So it was really just following through with our normal plans, scaling it up, everything on the resort here. We're used to doing that type of thing.
It's a wonderful boost to the economy of the community.
We want you to come down here very often.
This year was because of crisis, we would say that they're here, but I think they like what they're seeing and we like what we're seeing, so I hope we get together on it. The biggest challenge was really coming up with more launching area space, another additional 100-ton crane.
And of course, this is a perfect spot.
It is the perfect spot to find out who builds the fastest boat. You take your basic high-performance hull, cigarette, fountain, Baja, etc., and you put the same power, 2 Mercury 500 HP motors, in the engine compartment, and then you find out who's the fastest. Well, that's a very popular concept, and that is Factory 2. You've got full race engines, but identical engines in these boats. And what kind of a guy drives a Factory 2 boat? Well, here's the lowdown.
The man that drives the F-238 is one of the hardest working guys in boat racing. He's Bob Eubanks. He's turned his own trucking company over to his wife, Teresa. so that he can pay full attention to his race boats. And their marriage really stirs up the water.
And I'll let the air out.
This is Bob's domain. This is Bob's home in the country. Bob stays in the boat shop and does a tremendous job just keeping up with 2 boats and the tow rigs and the trucks and just making sure that everything is ready.
It's so extremely important. You don't get a second chance. You go around a ramp and the boat falls off the trailer, you got a big problem. You're not going to go back and redesign it and do it again.
We've taken what was a hobby that we both enjoyed and turned it into almost a second career. Actually a full-time career for Bob and a second career for myself.
I've got a lot of knowledge in trucking, and I enjoy being able to use that. I've always liked to have elaborate equipment, which this, I think, fits the bill. Paint jobs, matching trailers.
Bob's going to go, come on back, and we're filling it in, putting in a hot tub.
Now, with so much elaborate equipment, the backyard pool's gotta go.
He's been wanting to do that for 10 years, okay? He's been threatening to close his pool up permanently with a dump truck.
If I gravel it, I can park more boats here.
There's still time for home decorating. Checkered flags make great garage curtains in a marriage built on boat racing.
Our first date consisted of, I picked her up on a motorcycle and we went for a bike ride. And I just happened to mention to her that I bought this boat, and we stopped by the dealer.
We were married on May 23rd. We got back here right after the Fort Myers race on our 10th anniversary.
We needed a date that I would remember.
In our rush to get up in time to get married.
84 mile an hour in Teresa's case.
When I told the officer that I was trying to get to the church on time, he didn't seem to take too much into account. I did get a little bit of a reduced fine, but I still got my ticket.
Aggravating, but for the Eubanks appropriate, since traffic tickets actually led them to their hobby.
Pretty much I really got into pleasure boating on what we call an extreme level. My driver's license couldn't take any more tricks and antics on the streets. No speed limit on the water.
On the season so far, the F275 has just taken over the points lead from the F201. Both boats are running strong, but Benny Robertson, the tunnel boat driver in that boat with Mitch Miller, is a strong contender. Now, the team version expected an advantage with the rough water in Buffalo. That's gone down here in Isla Mirada.
Number 57, Lou Dickey and Matt Rice seem very confident headed into this race with a smaller boat and all that good smooth water in 98. Don't forget Eric Treadwell and Jack Storley in the F298, also with a big boat and also hoping for an edge. However,
normally the big boats would have the advantage down here in Isla Mirada with the big water, but it looks like today we're going to have relatively flat water, so the little boats are probably going to be hard to beat.
With the water being flat with our big boat, it's going to be a little bit at a disadvantage. We really like to have at least 2 to 3, even 4. That's what makes it interesting.
This class is built on consistency, and we've got a great boat that runs really well. We generally finish always in the top 3.
The start in the F2 is crucial. We all have the same motors and the same drives and different hulls. We all run about the same speed.
Boy, a win would really help with that point spread, putting us up there and giving us that leapfrog to get up to the front.
So we get our little 35 going out there today, and I don't think there's anybody can touch us.
You'll notice as we look over the Factory 2 lineup that the F201, formerly known as Matco Voyager, is now named National Marine. They're hoping for a #1 finish with the newly sponsored boat. Also, Adib Mastri, the indestructible throttleman, formerly with Team Baja, is now in the F250 Sutphin. And of course, our points leaders, the F275 Lake Cumberland, found with Benny Robertson. 17 boats in all. Sit back, let's get ready for a fantastic show.
Here they come.
Go.
There is a pack at the start. The F250 with a deep mastery right in the middle of that. The F277 awesome, and the Lake Cumberland Marine are the fastest right off the bat. But look at this. The F275 drops way off the pace. They are really battling it.
Something is wrong in the F275. Normally, they go right to the lead. Something went wrong. Looks like they pulled a kill switch out or something. I've never seen a boat stop that quickly at that point of the race. Something went wrong electrically in the F275.
Now, this is interesting, because with this smooth water, we can see it's really evened out the pack. They are battling it, and there is no one in a decisive lead.
That's the slide, isn't it? That's the slide. It's a slide? Yeah. You sure? Yeah. Just slide, dude. Get over there.
And there they're running neck and neck with the F-257. What a battle! The F-277 is now in 5th place, just behind the F-294, the always fast Team Virgin.
And in the Team Virgin, Trace Martin on the throttles. He knows these waters well, but he has to be disappointed. That big boat, he wanted the big seas in Buffalo. He got the calm seas here in the Keys.
And out into the lead, the F-257, Utz Quality Foods, Pier 57. Luke Dickey and Matt Rice, they have got that boat really trimmed out.
The boat is hanging beautifully. Right now, the 77 and the 94 have traded places. Trace Martin using a lot of trim in the calm seas. He's got that big cigarette that's going as fast as it can in the flat water.
Jim, dump it. Just keep going across it, okay. Get back on the inside of them. So he just rolled over.
And it was Brian Kirby and Adib Mastry aboard the Team Sutphen boat that had rolled over. Both are out of the boat. They seem okay. The boat itself is sinking. Oh, hate to see that sight.
Adib Mastry has had so many accidents in the last couple of years. He's indestructible. Let's look at the close racing now. National Marine is all over the cigarette with Trace Martin, the Team Virgin. They're just hanging right in there, holding them in on the turns, not giving them any room to breathe. That is pressure.
F-275 not picking up any ground, sits now in 3rd place, and in 2nd, the F-298 is chasing the F-257 Utz. They are out in the lead and running a great, great race. But can they racing? And we're back here in Isla Mirada, Florida, with incredible F2 racing. 57, Utz Quality Foods, Pier 57 is your leader.
Your battle for 10th to 21, Snapperhead, just past number 42, Marl Hadley. The F-262, that Formula, what a beautiful boat. The Talisman is running in 6th place. Another Formula, the Total Marine, that's the F-232. He is running in 9th place. Now on board F-298, they are looking back, gesturing wildly. I wonder what they're looking at.
I don't know, but they're sure being emphatic about it. They want somebody to move over or something along that line. F-275 is just behind in 3rd place. There you get a good shot into the cockpit. The water looks smooth, but they're bouncing around. The leader has crossed the finish line. First win for Matt Rice and Luke Dickey. Great comeback after a big disappointment in Baltimore. And the celebration for 2nd is even bigger. And the F-298 takes 2nd. They've wanted to beat Benny Robertson badly, and they've done it. No happiness in this boat, however.
The checkered flag in the hands of the crew of the F-257. They came back from wiping their drives off in Baltimore for a big win. The surprise, though, the F-298 Treadwell, that Formula, split the 2 fountains in 1st and 3rd place. That's a dramatic placement for them and a very good showing for the Formulas, which are normally a little better in the rough water than in the calm. Great showing by all concerned. The entire Factory 2 race just flew around this course.
Lake Cumberland hangs on to the points lead with a 3rd place finish, but Treadwell Motorsports is moving up, back only 16 points. Well, it's the dawn of a new era in Supercats, the debut of the first boat built specifically for this class.
I like big air.
Cats in the Keys. The Cats have fired it up, and there's supposed to be one big race with that smooth water out there. These guys love to sit on top of it and make it happen.
8 boats have moved to the Keys, and this is the debut of the Tommy Bahama boat, the first boat designed and built exclusively for Supercat. Now, the Supercat class uses a spec engine. That is, all of the engines in these boats are within about 20 horsepower of each other. They use the same heads and intake manifolds, and that limits the horsepower. Therefore, the boat designers become very, very critical. The boat design itself actually manages the speed. These boats are quick, they are very good handling, and they accelerate well, but it's very evenly matched. And boy, we're going to see some great racing today on this calm course.
Well, let's talk about this course. Here in Isla Mirada, they'll have relatively flat water. It's a unique course, 7 miles long, and sort of a 4-sided triangle, if you will. The racers keep it real simple.
It's almost a triangular-shaped course. It's short, got some tight turns.
So the corners are going to be absolutely critical.
And these guys would love to improve on their third-place finish in Baltimore. Only their second race together in this boat. They're getting better at it all the time.
It is a beautiful, beautiful boat based out of Texas. Both guys out of Texas. It's one to watch for sure. And throughout this year, we've had a major rivalry developing between the White Fountain Mercury and the blue Don Q. Now, Don Q has yet to win a race. They ran well in Baltimore, but floating debris damaged their skegs and heated up the rivalry. There's a look at that damage that happened in Baltimore. It's repaired. They're ready to race.
We're kind of sick of losing to them. First of all. Second of all, we need them to lose a couple of spots. We're about 30 points behind, and we need to beat them by at least 2 to 3 spots in order to make the national championships in North Carolina a legitimate championship.
The rivalry between us and Don Q is simply that we are, without a doubt, probably the 2 best prepared teams here.
Now, Jerry Gilbreth in the 76 Fountain Mercury had to prepare for this race by adding some weight. An APBA ruling has them saying they're at a disadvantage yet again. Here's Jerry with his own thoughts.
We have been asked to carry an additional 500 pounds heavier than any boat out here, so we're at a big disadvantage in this race, and I don't know what we're going to do to overcome that. We are happy, however, to have taken the points lead, but it's going to be really difficult. The APBA has taken it upon themselves to add this weight to us. We're not real happy about it, but there's nothing we can do, so we're going to go out and do the best that we can.
Since they won most of the races, APBA made a justified decision in adding weight to their boat. Basically, what they did was like what NASCAR does. They made adjustments to the boat, the configuration of it, by adding weight to it, made it more even to race against everybody else.
And for the first time, we see the debut of the newest Super Cat in the fleet, the sleek, high-tech Tommy Bahama Super Cat. So high-tech, in fact, that some race teams are crying foul. Here's the lowdown.
It's about competition. The newest class in offshore racing, Super Cat. The biggest, fastest, and the most agile boats matched in even competition. The idea caught on quick, and now a renowned father and son team unites with a hot new company to debut the first Super Cat built exclusively for this class. If you've been following offshore racing, you know the name Nemshaw.
Excited about it. I mean, I've been on pins and needles this whole year waiting for this opportunity. It's here, and we're going to take advantage of it.
It's a great new boat.
Done everything that we could in V-Hulk. We wanted a new challenge. Super Cat obviously presents the biggest challenge available.
This is the first boat that was actually designed and built to these rules. Super Cat is the hot new thing for APBA Offshore, and it's what it's all about, and that's where we want to be.
Obviously, we have an incredible relationship as father-son, but in boat racing, obviously, we have to work very well together inside the boat. We want to make sure the other's comfortable, that we can push it, and hopefully be around for a checkered flag at the end.
It's hot. It's high-tech with high-dollar support. The newest boat with the newest sponsor in offshore racing. But how did it all come together?
We took a look at it, got together with the president of Tommy Bahama, Tony Margolis, and I said, hey, Tony, you got to check this sport out. This is cool. And he's that kind of guy. You know, he wanted to get on board with something that's up and coming, just like his company is.
Tommy Bahama also sponsors a race car.
It's a pleasure racing with you guys and being part of your team.
That's Brian Simo, driver of the Tommy Bahama Trans Am SCCA car. Tommy Bahama feels it has a pair of winners.
Well, obviously, Tommy Bahama is a high-performance company. Between our team and Brian's team, I mean, this is phenomenal.
You know how these guys work, right? There's something really not right about what they do. They explain to me one guy's on the throttle, one guy's steering. I don't know. You go sit in your car and let someone work the gas for you.
Can we put...
Today, this father-son team hopes to run well in their Super Cat national debut.
And here is the Super Cat lineup, the fastest, baddest cats on the planet, with some of the most outstanding teams you'll ever see in any motorsport. The guys you want to watch today, the Don Q Cristal going against their nemesis, number 76, Fountain Mercury, with Hugh Fuller and Jerry Gilbreth on board.
Now the Super Cats are lining up off of Isla Mirada. Dick Crippen along with Rich Lords as we looked at the beautiful blue water being broken up now by those powerful engines and propellers. We should have a start momentarily. This is a look off the back of the 76, the Fountain Mercury team. Here we're inside the cockpit of the Extreme. Dan Jackson is driving that boat. Here we are aboard relief band looking behind there, and you can see the power of those wakes. There's the green flag. The Cats jump out right off the bat. We've got some decisions being made, and relief band is looking like they're in pretty good shape, but they've got boats in front of them.
Calm seas and a lot of trim, and Cat Can Do. They were trimmed up and ready to rock and roll when the flag dropped. That gave them a good 10-boat length lead right off the start. But look at Don Q, Cristal, Pat Patel, and Felix Sorales in there just flying through the field. This is their day. They know it. They've got equal speed to the 76. They held them off in Baltimore until they hit that log. Right now, they feel like they can win this race. They are psyched to win today. There's nothing in their way. The calm seas let them go flat out. It's a speed burners race right now.
Once again, looking back off of relief band, the 88 and 43 are doing battle on either side. We're on board the 43. Listen in.
Slow down, man. Very too hot.
Okay, I got you.
Watch this turn right here, so we don't want to lose it.
Well, they make it through, but Don Q takes over 4th place and continues to whittle its way through the pack.
Now, the 19 came off the start with a lot of trim. They're using their speed. Their problem this season has been consistency. Can they hold this for the entire race? They better, because the brand new Tommy Bahama, looking very, very strong for a debut run, is right on them on the outside of the course. They're a little too far outside, however, because here comes relief band number 24, trying to sneak in on the inside of the race course.
What a great run for a brand new boat, though. Tommy Bahama to even be competing like that. Now, we get word the Jelly Belly gone again that you see there missed a buoy. You can see the wake. It actually, they had to go back and pick up that buoy, doing a complete circle around it. That is very costly on the clock.
Yeah, and even as these boats are matched, there's no way they're going to make up that kind of a course miscue right now.
Barry Glovick and Keith Holmes aboard Cat Can Do, having a great ride out in front. Look at this battle between Tommy Bahama and the relief band. Meanwhile, we go back and find Fountain Mercury. They are now around turn 2 in 6th.
That is a surprise, and you know they're frustrated in that cockpit. The pace is very high here, and you would expect the smallest boat in the fleet to be leading. But they are carrying a weight penalty, and I'm sure they'll find no sympathy from any of their competitors. We're on board that Tommy Bahama boat. Look at the Don Q Crystal. They're coming up on the inside using the same trick that the 24 used on the Tommy Bahama. Don Q Cristal is carrying some beautiful speed right now on the backstretch. And we're going to stretch and be right back.
We're in Isla Mirada, the APBA Offshore. Dick Griffin along with Rich Lures as we look now at Bob driving that boat. As you can see, Don Q Cristal now moving up. You know, Richie's been picking them off one at a time.
Yeah, he's making some great moves here. He's using some wonderful course management, and that, of course, is Pat Patel on the wheel. He's an attorney, and he's negotiating the course pretty well.
He certainly is, and I'll tell you another boat doing a fine job, and that's the Nemshoff team, father and son, and the Tommy Bahama to the right of your screen. They are now trying to hold off the Credit1USA.com Extreme team out of Texas, and that boat is running fine, but Tommy Bahama is just really doing the job.
That's a mouthful. The Tommy Bahama, just to finish your first race is a real accomplishment. To be as competitive as they are in a brand new boat, wow.
And there you see that battle continues. Don Q looking for that opportunity to just nudge ahead for 2nd place. Relief band would then drop back into 3rd, and look at him just get that nose out in front. They're being very, very careful, trying to keep the trim on the boat, but still trying to push the boat to its extreme. They want to keep the boat safe, and they don't want to blow motors. You know, you start getting in that position where you're picking them off one at a time. Now they start hearing the noises. They start hearing things going wrong. But you can see Don Q has taken over 2nd place. Relief band has gone back to 3rd. Don Q now zeroing in on one boat, the Cat Can Do.
Now, Felix Sorales using more trim. His bow is higher. He's packing more air than the relief band. He's taking a calculated risk here. He's getting miles an hour because of it. And that has given him like a 2-boat lead right now. The boat they want to catch, number 19, Cat Can Do. Again, can they finish? That has been their problem all year. Don Q like a predator now, right on them. They're raising the stakes. They're putting more pressure on the Cat Can Do. Cat Can Do has a problem with consistency. The pressure may hurt.
And Tommy Bahama is running in heavy traffic right now. They're getting a little bit of that wake action right across the front of their windshield. Relief band still riding in 3rd place right now. I can tell you for sure that the team of Don Q. Cristal, Pat Patel, and Felix Sorales aren't even looking back. Here is the Extreme team, the Credit1USA.com Extreme. They are now riding in fourth. The leaders, Cat Can Do, and look who's gaining. Not only gaining, but getting him on the outside. The Don Q. Cristal makes the pass, takes over the lead.
It's like vindication for a season of heartbreak. The bridesmaids have gone by and Cat Can Do went down. We knew that they have a problem. They've got a mechanical problem all season long. Once again, it bit them. That leaves this beautiful race course all alone for Don Q. Cristal. The water's perfect for them, and they're flying.
And they are about to get the checkered flag. They're easily going to go home. The leader in first place. Wow.
Right now, we got oil pressure problems on one motor.
New boat, Bugs, and look at that helicopter go by. That means that we're motionless on board Tommy Bahama.
Something wrapped up. On fire, too. Let's get out of here.
Uh-oh. They thought they were on fire. They made a quick exit, needless to say. That helps the 43 Credit1USA.com to move up to third, but they also have problems. Oh, they are going dead in the water now, too. They've got the canopy up on one side. What a finish for this race. They were all coming down there, and they're getting all sorts of problems. That all spells a top three finish for the Fountain Mercury.
But no one will catch Don Q. Cristal. A flawless race. They picked their spots. They made their moves cautiously. They flew when they needed to, and boy, what a beautiful race.
Well, they've been waiting a long time for this one. They have been working on this boat all season long. They came on a little bit late, but they got the boat locked in, and now you can see they finally have their just rewards. They have taken a win. Now they also have closed up on the points in that battle with the Fountain Mercury, and we'll find out how they did it when we come back.
Fortunately, we held back a little bit and just let, the mess dissipate a little bit, and so we could start.
Cristal finally breaks out and gets rid of the bridesmaids' curse. And don't forget the relief band, who finished their best race of the season with a strong second-place showing. Fountain Mercury hung on for third, and now let's hear from our winners.
Key to the win was Felix running the boat hard. That was the key to the win. We overpropped, and he made up for it with his talent, basically.
Pat did a fantastic job, around the turns. We had a terrible start. We got pinched in the middle, like always. But fortunately, we held back a little bit and just let, the mess dissipate a little bit, and so we could start running, and the boat just ran really nice.
So we head into the national championships with a real catfight in the points race. Only 9 points separate first and second. The Don Q boat seems to be dialed in and peaking, but will they be able to hold on and beat the Fountain Mercury on their home turf in Washington, North Carolina? It has been a great day. We had to split up the Buffalo race, but it's ending on a beautiful sunset in Isla Mirada. Next time, we are going to be talking national championships, and we're going to be talking them from Washington, North Carolina. Be with us then. For Rich Lords, Dick Crippen, so long, everybody.